My sister Sophie brought her new fiancé to family dinner, and I hated him instantly. Not because he was rude or disrespectful, actually, the opposite. Arnold Reed was perfect, too perfect. He said all the right things, laughed at the right moments, had the perfect job, the perfect background, like a character written by someone who knew exactly how to win a family over. And as a corporate lawyer with 15 years of experience spotting lies in courtrooms, I knew one thing for sure: nobody is that perfect. So I started digging. What I found was worse than any affair or criminal record. I found nothing, absolutely nothing. That's when I realized Arnold Reed wasn't just lying about who he was. He wasn't a real person at all. Before we dive in, have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be right? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about family, deception, and trusting your instincts, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, let me take you back to that dinner, the night I met the man who didn't exist. As a corporate lawyer in a major city, I'd spent years reading body language, catching inconsistencies, and knowing when someone was performing rather than being genuine. So, when my 29-year-old sister Sophie brought her fiancé Arnold to our parents' house, my instincts screamed at me immediately. Arnold looked like the definition of too good to be true. He was 32, tall, with that polished, catalog model kind of look, dark hair perfectly styled, a confident smile, an expensive but not flashy suit. He said he worked as an investment banker at a top firm downtown. He arrived with a $200 bottle of wine and complimented my mother's cooking like he'd rehearsed the line 100 times. He asked my dad thoughtful questions about retirement, spoke humbly about his own success, and looked at Sophie with just the right amount of admiration. "Where did you two meet?" my mom asked, already glowing with approval. "At a tech conference 3 months ago," Sophie said proudly. "I was giving a presentation on financial forecasting, and Arnold came up afterward to tell me it was the best talk he'd heard all day." Arnold smiled and added, "Your daughter is brilliant. I knew I had to get to know her." My parents were completely charmed. Even my usually cautious dad was nodding approvingly. But something about Arnold's story didn't sit right with me. It felt too smooth, like he'd practiced it 100 times before. "Where did you grow up, Arnold?" I asked casually. "Boston. Moved to Seattle 5 years ago for work," he replied without hesitation. "What brought you to Seattle?" "The firm offered me a position I couldn't turn down. I'd always wanted to live here, the culture, the outdoors, it just felt right." It was the kind of answer that sounded perfect, detailed enough to sound believable, but vague enough to avoid being checked. I'd heard the same kind of rehearsed stories in depositions before. "And where did you go to college?" I asked. "Northwestern, double major in business and economics." "What year did you graduate?" 2013. Arnold's smile never broke. "Why, Conrad, are you checking my credentials?" Everyone laughed. Sophie shot me a look that said, "Be nice." "I'm just getting to know my future brother-in-law," I said lightly. But in my head, I was taking mental notes. Northwestern, 2013, Boston childhood, investment banking career, all details I could verify later. The rest of dinner went the same way. Arnold was charming, Sophie was glowing, and my parents were completely sold. I was the only one at that table who felt like I was watching a performance instead of meeting a real man. When we said goodbye, Sophie pulled me aside in the driveway. "Can you try not to be such an asshole?" she snapped. "This is important to me, Conrad. Arnold is good to me. You interrogated him like he was on trial." "I'm just being cautious," I said. "You're being paranoid. Not every guy I date is out to hurt me. Arnold's kind, successful, and he makes me happy. Can you please just be supportive for once?" I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell her that something about Arnold didn't feel real. But she looked so happy, and I had nothing but a gut feeling. "Okay," I said, "I'll back off." But I was lying. Because everything about Arnold Reed screamed wrong, and I couldn't ignore it. The next day, I started digging. First stop, social media. Arnold's Facebook existed, barely. Created 18 months ago. A few generic posts about work and Seattle landmarks. Around 100 friends, all professional connections. No tagged photos, no college memories, no digital history before that date. His Instagram was the same, clean, polished, professional. Dinner photos, office selfies, tourist shots. Nothing personal, nothing human. His LinkedIn looked flawless, perfect resume, prestigious firms, glowing but generic recommendations. On paper, Arnold Reed was the definition of success. And that was exactly the problem. Real people aren't perfect. Real people have messy photos, old friends, awkward posts, evidence of life. Arnold's entire digital presence looked like it had been carefully built to look real, not be real. So I called my friend James, a tech security expert. Hey, can you do me a favor? I need a deep background check on someone. Social media, employment, anything you can find. James hesitated. Is this legal? It's research for a potential lawsuit, I lied. 3 days later, James called back. Your guy is weird, he said. Weird how? His online life starts 18 months ago, and before that, there's nothing. No old accounts, no archived pages, no photos, no mentions. It's like he didn't exist. Maybe he deleted old stuff, I suggested. Not like this, I mean nothing. No school records, no college articles, no tagged photos. Everyone leaves a trace, Conrad. This guy doesn't. That's when my suspicion turned into certainty. Arnold Reed wasn't just hiding something. He was hiding everything. The companies Arnold claimed to work for did exist, but when I called to verify his employment, something felt wrong. Every person I spoke to gave the same robotic answers, like they'd been trained on a script. Their tone, their words, even their pauses, everything sounded rehearsed. Could someone have paid them to provide false references? It was possible, or maybe they were part of whatever this was. James could sense the tension in my voice. Conrad, what's going on? Who is this guy? My sister's fiancé, I said quietly, and I think he's lying about who he is. There was a long silence. Then James spoke again. You want me to dig deeper, because if this is some kind of con, you'll need solid proof before you accuse him. Dig deeper, I said firmly. I need to know who Arnold Reed really is. Over the next week, while James worked his contacts, I tried to act normal around Sophie and Arnold. They invited me to lunch twice. Arnold was, as always, charming, polite, attentive, funny. He asked about my work, told stories about his job, treated Sophie with genuine affection. But I noticed the cracks. He would pause just for a fraction of a second before answering any personal question, as if calculating the perfect response. His stories were detailed, yet strangely generic, like they could belong to anyone. He avoided specifics and gently redirected every conversation towards safer, broader topics. He was good, really good. If I hadn't been looking for inconsistencies, I might have missed them completely. Sophie, of course, noticed my continued skepticism. After one lunch, she confronted me in the parking lot while Arnold went to pay the bill. What is your problem with Arnold? She snapped. He's been nothing but kind, and you treat him like a suspect in a crime. Sophie, doesn't anything about him seem off to you? I asked. His background is too perfect. His stories are too smooth. It's like he doesn't have a single flaw. That's called being a well-adjusted adult, Conrad, she shot back. Not everyone is as cynical as you. Some people are just good. Nobody is that good, I said quietly. Something's wrong here. The only thing wrong is you, she yelled. You can't stand that I'm happy. You can't stand that someone actually loves me. You've been alone so long, you've forgotten what normal looks like. That one hurt. Because she wasn't wrong. I had been single for 2 years. But this wasn't about me. This was about the gut-deep wrongness I felt every time I looked at Arnold Reed. I'm trying to protect you, I said softly. I don't need your protection, she said coldly. I'm 29, the CFO of a major tech company, and I can handle my own life. So either get on board or stay out of it. She turned and walked back toward the restaurant, leaving me standing alone in the parking lot, a paranoid older brother with no proof, just a sinking feeling that something was very, very wrong. That night, I sat in my apartment, thinking about Sophie. She was right about one thing. She was brilliant. Walsh Technologies, our family's company founded by our grandfather, had exploded in success under her leadership. She'd become CFO 2 years ago and completely transformed the company's financial strategy. In 4 months, they were set to launch a new software platform that could revolutionize enterprise data security, worth hundreds of millions in potential revenue. Sophie had access to everything: the code, the business strategy, the financials. And suddenly, a cold realization hit me. What if Arnold wasn't after Sophie? What if he was after Walsh Technologies? I pulled up Arnold's LinkedIn again and checked his current employer, Silverpoint Capital. A quick corporate search revealed something buried in the details. Silverpoint Capital was a subsidiary of Meridian Corporation, Walsh Technologies' biggest competitor. Meridian was the same company we were currently locked in a brutal lawsuit, with over allegations that they had stolen Walsh's trade secrets years ago. The lawsuit was messy, expensive, and still ongoing. And now, someone who supposedly worked for a Meridian subsidiary was engaged to the CFO of Walsh Technologies. My stomach dropped. I called James immediately. James, I need you to dig into Silverpoint Capital. Who owns it? Who funds it? Any link to Meridian Corporation? You think this is corporate espionage? He asked. I think my sister is being targeted, I said. 2 days later, James called back. You were right, he said. Silverpoint Capital looks independent, but it's not. They share office space with a Meridian branch, and several of their executives used to work directly for Meridian. It's not concrete proof, but it's suspicious as hell. Can you confirm if Arnold actually works there? I asked. Like, does he have coworkers, an office, anything? I can try, James said. Give me a few days. But I didn't have a few days. That evening, Sophie called me, her voice bright with excitement. Conrad, I know you've had your doubts, but I need you to be there for this. Arnold and I are having our engagement party next weekend. Mom and Dad are hosting. Please come and be supportive. For me. I hesitated. I'll be there, I finally said. And Conrad, she added softly, please don't ruin this. I'm the happiest I've been in years. I need my family to be happy for me. I am happy for you, I said. I just want to make sure you're making the right choice. I am, she replied. Arnold's the right choice, you'll see. The following Saturday, our parents' house was packed with guests, friends, family, and colleagues from Walsh Technologies. Arnold worked the room like a politician, shaking hands, laughing at jokes, winning everyone over. His charm was effortless, but I could see it for what it really was, a performance. Then my phone buzzed. James. I stepped into the backyard and answered. Conrad, I've got something, he said quickly. Arnold Reed doesn't actually work at Silverpoint Capital. What do you mean? His LinkedIn says. I know what it says, but I had someone watching the Silverpoint offices for 3 days. Arnold shows up twice a week, stays for about an hour, then leaves. He sits in a conference room, talks to someone, and disappears. The rest of the week, nothing. He's not really employed there. My pulse started racing. So where does he work? I don't know, James said, but I found something else. I did a reverse image search on his LinkedIn profile photo. That exact picture, same lighting, same suit, appears on a website for a company called Perfect Partners Limited. What's that? I asked. It's a high-end professional services company. Very discreet, very expensive. From what I can tell, they provide professional actors to pose in real-life corporate roles, consultants, executives, even fiancés. I froze. What the hell are you saying, James? Conrad, he said carefully, I think Arnold is a paid imposter. Either your sister hired him as a fake partner for appearances, or someone hired him to get close to her. I didn't even respond. I hung up and went straight inside to find Sophie. She was in the kitchen, arranging appetizers with our mother. "Sophie, I need to talk to you. Now, privately." She sighed. "Conrad, not now." "Now," I said, my tone sharper than I intended. Something in my voice made her follow me into our father's study. I closed the door and showed her my phone, the Perfect Partners Limited website, with Arnold's exact photo staring back at us. "Sophie, listen to me. Arnold isn't who he says he is. He's part of a company that hires actors to play professional roles in real life. I think he was sent to get close to you, to access Walsh Technologies' data." She stared at the photo, then looked up at me, her expression cold. "You've lost your mind," she said flatly. "Look at the website, Sophie. It's the same photo. He's not a real banker. He's an actor pretending to be one." "Enough," she shouted, her voice trembling. "You hired someone to stalk my fiancé. You've been spying on him like he's a criminal, and now you're showing me some conspiracy site as proof that the man I love isn't real. I'm trying to protect you. You're trying to control me. You can't stand that I've built a life that doesn't revolve around you or your paranoid suspicions. Arnold is real. His job is real. His love for me is real. And all you've proven tonight is that you care more about being right than about my happiness." She stormed out of the study, her heels striking the floor like gunshots. From the doorway, I watched her whisper something to Arnold. His face changed, concerned, protective. Then he wrapped his arm around her as if shielding her from me. My mother appeared beside me, her expression hard. "Conrad, what did you say to your sister? She's crying." "Mom, please listen to me. Arnold Reed isn't." "Stop." Her tone was cold and final. "I've watched you tear down your sister's happiness for weeks. Whatever theory you've built in that head of yours, I don't want to hear it. You either apologize to Sophie and Arnold or you leave." "I'm trying to protect her." "No," she said sharply. "You're trying to protect yourself from losing her. She's not your little sister anymore, Conrad. She's an adult. Let her live her life." Her words hit like a punch. I looked at Sophie, standing beside Arnold, his arm around her shoulders, both of them staring at me with anger and disappointment. My parents' eyes were full of quiet judgment. The guests had started to notice. My throat felt tight. I couldn't stay. I left. For 2 long weeks, silence. No calls, no texts. Sophie blocked my number. My parents sent one message: "Don't contact us until you're ready to apologize." But I couldn't walk away. I knew I was right. That's when I hired a private investigator, Detective Lisa Young. She specialized in corporate espionage cases. I handed her everything: the Perfect Partners website, the false job details, the timeline of Arnold meeting Sophie right before Walsh Technologies' biggest software launch. Lisa reviewed it all and leaned back in her chair. "This looks like a professional operation. I'll dig deeper." A week later, she called. "Conrad, Perfect Partners is a front company. They've been linked to several cases where trained operatives formed relationships to steal sensitive data. They recruit attractive, charismatic people, often struggling actors, and teach them how to seduce their targets." My stomach dropped. "Can you prove Arnold works for them?" "Not yet," she said. "But I found something. The man you know as Arnold Reed, his real name is Joshua Gordon. He's a 32-year-old actor from Los Angeles. Headshots, demo reels, the works. 3 years ago, he vanished from the acting world. That's around when Perfect Partners started expanding." She sent me a photo from his old portfolio. Same man, same face. Only back then he looked hungry for fame. Now he looked careful, polished, invisible. "So what's his plan?" I asked. "If it follows their pattern," she said, "he'll marry your sister, gain access to her files, and steal the prototype of Walsh Technologies' software. Once he has it, he'll vanish, leaving Sophie heartbroken and the company exposed." My chest tightened. How do I stop him? "You can't just tell her," Lisa warned. "You need proof. But here's one thing in our favor: he doesn't know you're onto him. If we can make him act, we can catch him in the middle of the job." What do you mean, make him act? Lisa gave a grim smile. We give him bait, make him believe he's about to win, and catch him in the act. It took another week to prepare. I hated myself for what I had to do next, lie to my sister. I emailed her from a new address, apologizing for everything. I was wrong, I wrote. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm learning to let go. Can we talk? 3 days later, she agreed to meet. At the cafe, Sophie looked tired, wary. I swallowed my guilt. Sophie, I'm sorry. You were right. I was overprotective, paranoid. Arnold's good for you. You're happy, and that should be enough for me. Her eyes softened slightly. I appreciate you saying that, Conrad, but you hurt me. You hurt Arnold, too. He never understood why you hated him so much. I know. I want to make things right. Maybe I can apologize to him in person. She hesitated, then nodded. He's been working from home this week. You can stop by the house if you want. Perfect, I said. Dad also asked me to drop off some investor reports. Can I leave them in your home office? She didn't question it. Sure. I smiled weakly. And Sophie, I really am happy for you. She hugged me. I wished I could tell her the truth. The plan was simple. The documents I'd bring were fake. Inside the briefcase would be blank papers and a decoy hard drive labeled prototype, Walsh Data Security Platform. If Arnold was who we thought he was, he wouldn't be able to resist. Thursday afternoon, I arrived at Sophie's house. Arnold opened the door, smiling like always. Conrad, Sophie said you were coming. Yeah, I said lightly, just dropping off some reports for her. He stepped aside, polite, confident. I walked into the home office, set the briefcase on her desk, and pulled out the hard drive. Sophie wanted me to leave this for her, I said casually. It's the prototype for the launch. She didn't want to bring it to the office. For a split second, barely visible, his face changed. His eyes flicked to the drive, hungry, calculating. Then the mask slid back on. Of course, he said smoothly. I'll make sure she gets it. I nodded, smiled, and walked out the door. But I didn't go far. Detective Young and 2 FBI agents waited in an unmarked van down the street. We had legal authorization to record everything. The briefcase contained hidden cameras linked to the FBI's corporate espionage investigation. On the laptop screen, we watched Arnold. Exactly 5 minutes after I left, he entered Sophie's office, locked the door, and pulled out a high-speed data transfer device. He connected the hard drive, started copying files, and typed rapidly on his phone, probably reporting to whoever had hired him. That's enough, the FBI agent said. Move in. Within a minute, agents burst through Sophie's front door with a warrant. I followed close behind, my heart hammering. Arnold No, Joshua, looked up from the desk, caught completely off guard. For the first time since I'd met him, his calm, perfect mask cracked. Joshua Gordon, the lead agent announced. You're under arrest for corporate espionage, fraud, and conspiracy to commit theft of trade secrets. As they cuffed him, Arnold's expression hardened. You set me up. I protected my sister, I said quietly. There's a difference. 20 minutes later, Sophie rushed in after my call. She froze at the sight. FBI agents in her home, her fiancé in handcuffs, and me standing there, exhausted. Conrad, what the hell is going on? Sophie, listen to me, I said gently. Arnold isn't who you think he is. His real name is Joshua Gordon. He's an actor hired by a corporate espionage company to get close to you and steal Walsh Technologies' software. That's insane, she whispered. The FBI agent stepped forward. Miss Walsh, it's true. We've been investigating Perfect Partners Limited for months. They recruit operatives to form romantic relationships with targets in corporate espionage cases. Joshua Gordon is one of their top assets. This was his 7th assignment. Sophie turned to Arnold, Joshua, her voice trembling. Is this true? He hesitated, then shrugged, his eyes empty. It was a job, nothing personal. Nothing personal, Sophie's voice broke. You asked me to marry you, you met my family. I did what I was paid to do, he interrupted coldly. Meridian Corporation paid Perfect Partners $200,000 to get access to your company's software before launch. I would have married you, copied everything I could, and disappeared. But your brother, he glared at me, turned out to be smarter than we expected. Sophie went pale. This can't be real. I sat beside her. For the first time in weeks, she didn't pull away. I'm sorry, Sophie, I had to protect you. Joshua was taken away soon after. He confessed everything, nomming clients, handlers, and fellow operatives. Perfect Partners Limited was dismantled, and Meridian Corporation faced massive criminal charges. But the legal fallout didn't matter. What mattered was my sister sitting in her living room, realizing the man she loved had never existed. The weeks that followed were hard. Sophie grieved not just the relationship, but the betrayal. She was furious, at him, at herself, even at me for being right. Our parents apologized through tears, ashamed they hadn't believed me. I didn't need it. I hadn't done this to prove a point. I'd done it to keep her safe. Sophie took a break from Walsh Technologies to heal. Slowly, painfully, she began to find herself again. 3 weeks after the arrest, we met for coffee. She looked stronger, calmer. Conrad, she said, you were right about everything. I was so desperate to be happy that I ignored every warning sign. You risked our relationship, our family, everything just to protect me. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. You saved me. You didn't do anything wrong, I told her. You were targeted by professionals. Joshua was trained to seem perfect. You believed because you're human. She gave a sad smile. And you didn't believe because you're, what, a paranoid lawyer. Exactly, I said with a small laugh. But more than that, I know you. When you fell that fast, it didn't feel like you. That's what made me suspicious. So you were profiling me, not him, she teased gently. I was protecting you, I said softly. That's what big brothers do. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Thank you for being stubborn, annoying, and right. 2 months later, Sophie returned to work, stronger than before. Walsh Technologies launched their new platform successfully, now secured tighter than ever. As for me, I became known for spotting deception. Companies asked for my help identifying similar operations, and I even testified in court against other Perfect Partners agents. But what mattered most was Sophie. We rebuilt our bond. We had dinner every week, teased each other, and learned to laugh again. One night, she asked, do you think I'll ever trust someone again? Yes, I said without hesitation. Because now you know what real looks like. It's not perfect, it's honest. She smiled faintly. To imperfect people who are real, she said, raising her glass. I raised mine. To trusting your instincts and protecting the ones you love. Joshua Gordon was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. Perfect Partners was shut down permanently. Meridian paid millions in settlements. But the real story wasn't about revenge. It was about love, the kind that listens to instinct even when everyone else calls it paranoia. Arnold Reed had been perfect, and that's exactly what made him dangerous. Real people aren't perfect. They're flawed, honest, human. And when someone seems too good to be true, they usually are. Have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be right? Share your story in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more powerful emotional stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.